Hi, so you're coming in to get some braces on here in the near future, and yeah, I kind of have some sample braces, blue ones down here, pink ones up here. And if you're going with the silver braces here, you can kind of change these colors that you see on them at each visit when you're here if you want to. You don't have to, but we have a lot of different colors that you can actually trade in. You can alternate them, different kinds of combinations. And putting the braces themselves on is actually quite easy. And at the top of the consent form, I always tell everybody, yeah, putting the braces on is pretty easy. You're not stuck in a dental chair for an entire hour or two straight. You usually sit down for maybe at most 5 minutes at a time, maybe 10, and you're getting up and rinsing. You can go to the washroom or whatever. So it's a pretty comfortable, easy appointment. And nothing we're usually doing should cause really any discomfort as we're doing it here in the office. A few hours later, the teeth start moving, and that will feel a little bit sore. But we're going to go to the putting the braces on part of it. And when you're looking at this one image here, what it's kind of showing is something kind of like what they have at the dental office, and we use something similar to it, like a little drill, just to basically polish all the teeth. And so you've been for cleanings, they just clean the surface up, nothing that's too major. And then once we've actually got the teeth all cleaned up, what we do is rub your tooth with a little Q-tip, essentially, that has one part of the adhesive on it there, and we just rub the surface. We then blow dry it using one of the little things that blows air, and then we go ahead and put the braces on. And we'll usually put one or two braces on at a time, and that's a little bit of glue being added. We squish it into place, position it, wipe away the extra glue, and then we shine a little light on it, which actually makes the glue stick to the actual tooth. And that's basically how you get the braces on. And when we're doing it, we'll usually put the bottom left braces on, then you go rinse, the bottom right ones, rinse, top left, rinse, top right. Sometimes we break it into thirds, but we find some way of kind of breaking it up so you can go get rid of a little bit of a bad gluey taste and make it a little bit easier on you. Going back to the consent form, I tell everybody, that discomfort that people get a few hours later as the teeth start to actually move, it's basically caused from blood flow being messed with as we're moving the teeth around. And things to help out with that is chew sugarless gum. I encourage people to chew gum while they have the braces on because it gets blood flow moving, gets the teeth wiggling. It's a little bit like being able to get up and walk it off when your leg falls asleep sitting for a while the same way. So chewing gum reduces the discomfort. And really do it before you're even feeling anything. Just go walk out the door, chewing the gum, you'll feel a little bit better. Number 2, Tylenol, ibuprofen, whatever you guys like to take for aches and pains, take some. It's going to make your life easier. And I usually tell people to do it for several days in a row. If it were me getting started tomorrow, I would basically go ahead and take an ibuprofen or two as soon as I got home. You could even take it before you got here if you wanted to. And then maybe 4, 5, 6 hours later, take another one or two. 6 hours later, another one or two. And just basically do that for a couple of days. And it's just going to make it easier for you to get through. And when we talk to patients who've gone through, getting used to the braces, the ones who took something consistently for a couple of days find it was way easier than the ones who didn't. The other thing you can do is rinse with cold water because it turns the pressure from the braces off. And going back to those couple of photos of some actual teeth, these wires are heat activated. So if you cool them down with some ice water as you're trying to get used to everything, it just makes everything a little bit easier on you. Things I tell everybody they gotta do, you gotta keep your teeth healthy and clean. And the reason you gotta keep your teeth healthy and clean is so that when we finish, your teeth look better than you started with, rather than worse. You got clean braces here, braces, teeth, gums. Up on top here, you can almost see there's some food getting stuck around the necks of the teeth from not brushing it away. And if you're not brushing it away consistently, it sits there day after day, irritating the gums. The gums start to get poofy, red, and swollen. The food's sitting there, and you're actually getting cavities happening on the teeth themselves. And this one photo here even shows relatively straight teeth that are really badly scarred and damaged. And you can't fix this very easily. This isn't something you can just kind of bleach this away or something. These are actual cavities, these hyper white areas, and these don't look good. And you can actually see where braces were on the tooth because the braces will protect everything that they're covering. It's around the braces where you got to be keeping everything healthy and clean. And the edges of the teeth, that's not the issue. It's actually getting around the necks of the teeth and keeping those healthy and clean. That's where you got to focus, along in there. Take those bristles and work them in to that area between the braces and the gums and get in and kind of clean those areas. Once you get those areas, you also should kind of brush the bottom sides of the braces. And you're not trying to keep the teeth or the braces clean, it's really the teeth you're trying to get clean. Okay? So up above and down below. And you got to do that on the top and the bottom teeth. Alright? You can kind of see it's that area up there that needs the extra attention. And what we like to give patients are these little things that we call Christmas tree brushes. And we always have them in the office for you to take with. We give them to you when you get the braces on. And they're also really helpful. And it doesn't take very long. Just hit each spot between the teeth with this before you're going to bed at night. You don't have to do this 50 times a day. You really just need to get in there. And this is being really thorough right now. Up, down, left, right. They're spending like 15 seconds doing this one spot. You just take that thing and just basically go between this spot, 1, 2, 3, next spot, 1, 2, 3, next spot, 1, 2, 3, and you're pretty good to go. And one last final view to show what we're trying to avoid here. This is a clean set of teeth and braces, and if you don't get in there and kind of brush those areas, it's the areas around the necks of the teeth that start to build up some stuff, food, and then the gums get swollen, grow down, and start to look kind of something like that. Looks kind of awful. The gums are swollen and looking sore, and this food's just sitting on there, and once you go to take the braces off, you can actually see where the braces were, because once we polish all that crud off, underneath where the crud was, there's actual damage to your teeth, and it doesn't look good. And this is going to back up and then show all the stuff taken away. And so now we've got straight teeth that are permanently scarred and damaged. And like I said, you can't just bleach this away. You have to spend real money going and getting the teeth filled and getting the damage actually fixed. And back here on the consent form, besides getting and brushing, the other major thing I tell people to keep everything healthy and clean, you got to avoid soda pop. Reason for that is before you get braces on, it doesn't create problems. After the braces are off, you're good. But while you have the braces on, it's impossible to get in and get the sugar, acid, and carbonation off the necks of these teeth and keep them perfectly clean. And that sugar and acid and carbonation from any soda, 7-Up, Sprite, Mountain Dew, Coke, Pepsi, whatever it is, root beer, the sweetened iced teas can even create some issues. All that sugar, acid, and carbonation sits on there, creating the same kind of a damage pattern. So I just tell everybody, don't drink soda while you have the braces on. Everyone's usually even more familiar with you have to be a little bit careful about what you're eating so you don't break braces off. And as far as the hot, crunchy, sticky, gooey things, I tell people you really kind of have to use your brain to get through smoothly. And the reason for that is, all the braces are designed to be removed from your teeth. We actually want to straighten out your teeth and then remove these braces. Simulate video actually kind of shows someone biting on a hard sucker basically, and when you kind of bite onto it, all of a sudden this one brace is now loose from kind of crunching into it. And you can even slide it around. But the key thing is just to be careful about what you're eating. Hard crunchy things like a lollipop, like what it's kind of showing here, can do it, but believe it or not, healthy things like granola bars and nuts and carrots can also create the same issues. And what you have to do is, chop things up into smaller pieces. Carrot sticks, cut them into small little bite-sized pieces as opposed to taking a big old carrot and kind of crunching on it, or cook the carrots. Granola bars, break them up into pieces rather than shoving the whole granola bar into your mouth at once. And so there are things that you can kind of say, yes, you should probably be more careful about with the braces. And, things like hard, crusty breads, tear off pieces of the bread and put it in as opposed to tearing into it with your teeth. Crunchy chips, go for the Lay's chips. They're thin, they're crunchy, but they're not going to break a brace off as opposed to like Crunchers or even like Ruffles usually do. But the really hard, crunchy like nacho chips and stuff can definitely do it. Corn on the cob, sloppy when you're eating it with braces and you're kind of tearing into the brace, just kind of tough. Apples, chop them up into smaller pieces, same thing with carrots. So like I was saying, it's actually sometimes the healthy stuff that people struggle with the most. popcorn, you know, if you eat piece by piece, you're probably okay. But it's when you throw a whole mouthful of popcorn in there that you tend to break a part off. And people tend to do that on, you know, days where it's like a long weekend or something like that, and then you're not going to be in the office for several days, and it's just easier not to break things off in the first place. And if anything is broken off, call us. Come on in, get it fixed. We don't charge for braces to get broken off. I just want to get you moving forward, to get things completed, and you know, get you to the finish line. And when we get to the finish line, we always put in retainers. And the retainers that we typically use look something kind of like what you see here. On the bottom and on the top, behind the front teeth, we glue a little wire in with the idea of this wire being there forever. Because the older you get, the more your teeth have a tendency to become crooked. And when we put these in, most people do beautifully with them. Your tongue gets used to it really quickly. You can brush, you can floss, you can keep everything healthy and clean. But you can potentially break these. And how do you break them? Well, you know, if you're chewing on a pen or a pencil on this front tooth, you're eventually going to pry that tooth loose from the bonding. Eating an apple usually won't do it, because when you bite into an apple, all the front teeth kind of bite into the apple together, and so this tooth isn't being pried on. But, you know, you can eat the carrot sticks, and you can go ahead and rip open the water bottle using your teeth if you want to. Just use the teeth off towards the side, not the very front four. And really, most adults won't use the front teeth like tools in the first place because we've already chipped our teeth and don't want to do that. But those usually hold up nicely. And if you do happen to break it, you'll need to come in and get it fixed. And we do charge those kinds of repairs. So it's nice to avoid that kind of expense. And back on this consent form, you know, I always kind of emphasize to everybody that, you know, we put those retainers in. We do charge for replacements or repairs. And I always figure the kids should be the ones who are 100% responsible for paying for those repairs, and they should know that up front, because if they know that up front, then they actually tend to be very successful and not need to get things fixed, or if they do it once and never again. So just that's basically my suggestion as far as that goes. The ones who sometimes lose 2-3 retainers, and parents ask me, how do we keep them from losing the retainer? Those are the ones that, you know, if mom and dad stop paying for it, suddenly they stop getting lost. And most of our removable retainers look kind of like this little clear guy. And we have you wear it to bed at night. And if you wear that consistently to bed, it keeps everything pretty darn close to exactly where we had it. And if you don't wear it, you know, some stuff will kind of move. The front teeth that are kind of glued together will stay in pretty good position, but everything else can have a chance to kind of move. And the last two things that applies to everyone who goes through braces, root resorption and impacted teeth, are both basically X-ray things. And what they are is that root resorption, all the teeth have these roots that go down into the bone. And when we do orthodontic treatment, they shrink a little bit at the bottom as a result of moving the teeth around. Happens to everyone, totally normal. The wisdom teeth in the very back, these guys, usually the 4 of them, those 4 guys will sometimes erupt up to the surface beautifully, and that's awesome. The majority of patients who are going through braces, though, since the other teeth came in crooked and crowded, these guys come in crooked and crowded, and they get stuck on the back side of the 12-year molar here, and eventually needs to be removed. And simply, we're usually the first ones who take the x-rays, who image these guys and tell you to go get them removed in a couple of years when you're in your late teens. And, you know, basically straightening out all the other teeth don't really help the wisdom teeth, don't really hurt them. We just happen to be the ones who first are able to image them and tell you about them. All right, so thanks for listening. And if you've got any questions, write them down, bring them along to your visit.